Hello students, today I will discuss on the particular syllabus that has been provided by Kalyani University for the major course. As you know that from this year, the term honors has been obliterated and following NEP 2020, the major course has been introduced into each and every university. Now, under this particular course, as you can see here, the course code is MAJ101 and the course title is Reading, Writing and Presentation. You can see that it has been divided into three major units, where it is the unit 1, that is the first unit. Here the unit title is Literary Terms. In the second unit, you will find the academic writing part, and in the third unit, you will find the presentation skills, as you can see here in this particular slide. Now, for the first time, as you can see that a kind of a new pattern of courses has been introduced, but somehow if you just follow the syllabus of the previous years, you will find that somehow in this particular syllabus, the previous three syllabus has been, you will find in the mixed format. Now, what happens, that the literary terms and academic writing and presentation skills, these are very important for your academic career, because afterwards, whenever you will find the texts in your syllabus, that means the drama or maybe the poems or maybe the novels, the literary terms perspective or this particular form of literary terms and literary types and how to write academic English, all these things are very important for the students for the future days. Now, you see that the kind of books that have been introduced here, as you can see, it is under the prescribed texts format. As you can see here, the fundamental book that should be considered as the textbook for us, it will be a glossary of literary terms, and this will be written by M.H. Abrams and Geoffrey Jolt Herfurm, and it is published from New Delhi Cengage publication, you see. So under this literary terms, now first of all, let me introduce the kind of terms that are in your syllabus. As you can see from this particular section, it is persona number 1, number 2, genre, number 3, image, symbol, epic, lyric, novel, comedy, tragedy, character, connotation and denotation, irony, narrative and narratology, and point of view. Now, what is very important and significant in this particular format, you see that in the previous syllabus, that means it was prior to CBCS syllabus, literary terms was considered to be very important and significant for the students of academic English. Why? Because literary terms, or maybe the terminologies to be specific, these are very significant and important for you whenever you will just go through any form of literature. So that is why the kind of base work, okay, you see that the kind of the basic informations or the basic knowledges, these are very important for you, and it will help you to understand any form of literary work in the later times. So you see that I'm not going with the kind of terminologies that have been introduced in your syllabus and what are they. Rather, you must go through the textbook, that is a glossary of literary terms by M.H. Abrams, and just go through the lines. You see, that's why these are to be considered as very important and significant. This is your textbook, and the questions will obviously being set from this particular book. Now, apart from this one, you will get other books for your further studies. For example, the books like, it is by J.A. Cadden, okay, a dictionary of literary terms and literary theory by J.A. Cadden. You will get a Bedford glossary of literary terms, okay. These will be very significant books that will help you surely. Now, you see that the terms that have been introduced into your syllabus, like, it's persona and character and connotation and denotation and narrative and narratology and obviously point of view, you will find that these are very significant and important, and always they are quite related to each other, because whenever you will just go through any form of literary work, any form of literature, you will find that who actually tells us the story, okay, or whose perspective and whose point of view we will follow. So that's why the narrative and narratology and persona and character and point of view, all these things are quite interrelated, and these are very significant because whenever we will go through the texts of any particular format, okay, or any particular genre, say for example the tragedy or comedy, the drama, the novel, the short story, the poetry, everywhere you will find that the point of view and the kind of narrative that have been introduced and the persona that have been presented in this particular format, these are altogether considered to be some significant and important. Along with these, you will find there are some terminologies or terms that have been mentioned here, like images and symbols. These are very important for interpreting any kind of text, okay, whether it is a form of poetry or maybe the drama or anything else. So ultimately, imagery and image and symbol, these are also significant for you. And these were in the previous syllabus, obviously, okay. In the 2008 format, you will find that these were there, and in 2015 syllabus, this was also present there. Along with them, there are some larger terms, as you can see in this syllabus, like epic poetry, like lyric poetry, like novels, like comedy and tragedy, as they're falling under the group of drama. Okay, all these are important and significant and larger terms because you will find there are ample references of other terms, other significant and important terms that fall under these groups. So that's why you need to read these five, five in number. I'm repeating, it's epic poetry, lyric poetry, novel, comedy, and tragedy. These five are to be considered as the larger terms, and that's why these are considered as types, as you can see. These are terms, obviously, but whenever a term has becoming larger or has become larger, okay, it is being constituted as literary types. And under the literary types, you will find there are ample shorter versions of literary terms. Like if you think about tragedy, then you will find there are ample references of other tragedies, okay, that do fall under this group. Say for example, you will get Greek tragedy or classical tragedy, you will get Shakespearean tragedy, you will get social tragedy or modern tragedy, and ultimately under the group of tragedy you will find there are shorter terms like tragic hero, like hamartia and hubris and peripety and anagnorisis and catastrophe, and altogether chorus and supernaturalism in tragedy. So there are ample other shorter questions that may arise from this particular one. Likewise, under the group of comedy, you will find old comedy and new comedy. You will get the satiric comedy. You will get comedy of humors, comedy of manners, or maybe Shakespearean comedy, or in the later part of comedy of ideas, and the multiple other forms do fall under this group. Similarly, under the group of novels, you will get the different types of novels, okay? And that's why you will get the picaresque novel or epistolary novel or gothic novel or stream of consciousness novel or psychological novel. So there are ample references or the ample shorter terms that do fall under this particular group. So that's why it is better for you to read these five terms in great detail, okay? And just go with the books like, it's Quintessence of Literary Essays by W.R. Goodman, okay? It falls under the group of, the detailed discussions of literary type of thing. And along with these, you will find their second unit is there, and it is being titled as academic writing. Now, the question is, what is academic writing? As you can see that from your early days, you have been introduced with multiple forms of writing. Now, the difference between an academic writing and non-academic writing lies in the particular factor, that as you were under the group of English honors, and now it is the major course, obviously, but after the completion of your 4 years, you will be considered to be a successful, honor student. Now, what happens, that whenever we are in our academic classes or whenever we are just writing our academic writing, your answers, your discourses that you are creating, your kind of, preparations and presentations, and obviously up to your research work, that is the thesis writing or the dissertation writing. Everywhere you will find that somehow the kind of language that we do use, this is quite different from the kind of conversational daily day-to-day language that the layman or maybe the normal people they are using. So that means in the academic sphere, you need to know the process of writing, how to write properly, what are the conventions of academic writing, how to summarize and paraphrase any kind of idea, any kind of literary text that you are going through, and the kind of critical thinking in writing. That means how you do use your critical thinking and the processes of thinking in the formations of writing. What is your argument in the form of the writing, and how in the formation of writing any dissertation paper or maybe any kind of academic article, and how you can quote, you can cite the resources from any other author. Because whenever you will just try to interpret anything, you will need the earlier works that has been done or that have been done on this particular field. So that's why after reading those texts, after going through all these forms of academic literature, it will be helpful for you to write on your own. So that is why you must mention them, you must acknowledge them in the formations of resources, you see, because you are quoting them either in the form of paraphrase or in the form of summary or in the form of direct references, that is the citing forms. So that's why the kind of citing resources and how to use them, these are obviously very significant and important for your academic writing. So these are the major 6 areas, as I have already mentioned here, need to fall under the group of academic writing. Now, the question is, what will be the particular book that will be followed under Kalyani University? That you can see here, it has been mentioned under the group of prescribed texts. The title of the book is, as you can see, The Introduction to Undergraduate English, and it is the second book, and the segment is Partho Pratib Mondopadhyay et al. And it has been published from Cambridge University Press, and the page number has been provided here. And under this particular book, there is a particular entry that is made by Sharmila Mojumdar. Actually, she is from our university, that is Kalyani University. She is a very veteran teacher actually, and the title is Academic Writing and Composition. So that will be considered to be your textbook, as you can see, and there you will get a number of questions and will be provided, and just go through this particular book and it will be helpful to you. But for further references, obviously you can search for the other resources and other forms of literature, other forms of books that will provide you the extra importance or extra informations on all these things. Now, as you can see from the types of question that have been provided here in this particular column, as you can see, the question pattern will be quite different from the CBCS structure. Here you will find that you have to answer 5 questions that will be out of 8 questions, each carrying 2 marks, and you have to answer 3 questions out of 6 questions, and each carrying 5 marks from literary terms. So that means you will find 25 marks from literary terms, 10 short answer type question and medium length questions of 15. So 25 marks from literary terms group. Now, if you think about the academic writing part, then you will find that you have to answer 4 questions out of 8 questions, each carrying 5 marks, and 1 question out of 3 questions carrying 15 marks. So again, you will find there 20 plus 15 equals to 35 marks from academic writing. So these 2 parts are very important for your major course, obviously. Along with these 2 units, as you can see, there is a third unit, that is the presentation skill. As we know that whenever we will just go through the academic life and academic career, you need to present your skills, or you need to present your, the presentation is considered to be very important and significant. Though the students will be required to make a presentation as part of their internal assessments or students seminar under each and every colleges, but ultimately in the final exam you will not find any particular question that will arise from this particular segment. But somehow the presentation is very significant and important for you, as you can see that in your later years, whenever the kind of presentation will be required for your dissertation or thesis or researches and anything, the kind of seminars and obviously the kind of workshops, everywhere you have to make the presentations. And ultimately for your later days, that means whenever you will be included among the the master's degree. So ultimately the presentations are considered to be very important and significant because the mid-semester presentations will be there. So that's why it is better for you to just to inculcate or nurture the communicative skill that you have, and at the same time the kind of presentation skill that you have, because most of the students that are coming from the Bengali medium students, okay, or vernacular medium, they are obviously suffering from the communication crisis, and that's why the kind of presentation, it seems to be a problematic issue for them. So it is better to just nurture these kinds of abilities that you have, and that's why the sections, that the contents have been pointed out here: the audience and the objective of your presentation, choice of medium of presentation, techniques of effective presentation, what are the techniques that you should follow, the structuring the presentation, that means how to present or how to structure your whole presentation, and that when the time has been provided, so for example, in some place or in some place of seminar like thing, that when you are just going to present your idea, then suppose there are say 10 minutes, okay, only for you, and you have to just shape your whole thoughts under this 10 minutes. So the time constraints, the time management is obviously to be considered as something important. So that's why structuring the presentation and the time management, all these things are very significant and important. And along with that, the kind of PowerPoint presentations, the visual aids, the use of technology, that after the post-COVID time, you see that somehow the kind of change, or the kind of change and transformation has been operated. It is very significant that you must go through the kind of the PowerPoint presentations and the webinars, as you can see. Okay, the Google Slides, everything, the technology, the visual aids, these are very significant for you. You must know all these things in your presentation skill or under your presentation skill. At the same time, you need to be very much cautious about the clarity and the non-verbal communication, the kind of gestic language, the kind of body language, your attitude, everything actually matters. Because whenever after the completion of your study, whenever after the completion of your the courses, okay, the kind of campusing, the kind of employability, the kind of the job opportunities, everywhere the presentation skill is very significant and important. Okay, so you must go through all these things, though the questions will not come from this particular section, but this is very significant and important for your academic career in future. So that is the course. That is, as you can see, it's the major 101, and these are the units, and these are the things that we have to do. Okay, so today up to this, and in our next lecture I will obviously deal with the other section that are related with this one, that is the SEC courses, obviously, you see, because under this particular group you will find the enough skill enhancement techniques. So today up to this, thank you then.